Do you think we should address why we are recording the first episode for the third time?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Yes.
So, for our listeners,
Wait. It's. Hey, I have the whole thing planned out.
oh, you planned this out?
Yeah, dude. I was thinking of doing a good introduction and all that.
Okay, take the floor, Manish, with the weirdest laugh ever.
It's the wrong fucking layer.
So much build up is there.
You
But
are
anyway.
making this build up. We are both fine. We are normal.
Okay, fine. Okay, then ready? 1, 2, and 3. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Wrong Layer podcast, where we try to talk about what is going on in the art world while being completely oblivious to the real world problems and dying sea life. This is our first episode, which, by the way, this is our third time recording it. And this very original format of content is being hosted by the artist Spud.
Hello, I'm the artist Spud, the representation of the last brain cell.
Fuck you! I was going to say that. You piece of shit.
I knew.
Oh, God damn it, man. I shouldn't have given you that idea. Stupid. Then we have Joash Britto.
Hello.
And it's just me, Manish Demon, and I wanted to say something. And I wanted to say what he just said, and this asshole took my idea. So anyway, okay, fine. If you want to be the last brain cell, you can be that. Acha, so what today for this episode? What are we going to talk about?
Well, shit, I'm still recovering from the dhoka that I gave you.
There was a class A
It was
betrayal.
beautiful. It was beautiful, dude.
Fuck,
People
man.
have no context to this based on how
Yeah.
we edit this.
It's fine. Get used to it.
Wait. Are you talking about what we did this week?
Oh, okay. So yeah, let's okay. So the first segment, let's start with what we have
Say
done
the
this
first
week.
segment.
Okay. How do I start it?
We started already. Okay, fine. So this week, I had a relatively busy week. I had a couple of commissions to take care, and I was supposed to record our first episode, which we thought was really good. I use past tense because it's fucked now because we can't use the audio because of no fault of anybody, Joash. Someone's audio was very much fucked, Joash, because of which we are re-recording this for the third time. So this will definitely not come out on the day that we hyped up. But yeah,
I mean, it could.
It is what it is. No, I'm not. What? Fuck off. I have to edit this. There's no way I'm finishing this today. But yeah, that was my week. What have you guys been
That
up
sounds
to?
like a good week, Josh.
It sounds like a good week. We had to record an episode 3 times.
I agree with you. All of this has happened in the week that you both have existed alongside. And you're like, yeah, that sounds good.
We have been part of yeah. All right, so, Joash, how has your week been?
It has been interesting. I finished the 100 days of sketching challenge, which is big. But yeah, so for anyone who's not familiar, it's like a challenge where you draw something every single day for 100 days. And yesterday was it yesterday? No, it was the day before yesterday. Was day 100, and I finished it. I fucking went through it. This is the second time I'm finishing it, so I am quite proud of myself for that without missing a single day. Although this time I didn't post as much. I did do it last year as well, 100 days. I think I'm getting good at this. But that is like on the art side of things. And I was also really proud of that, the most recent Attack on Titan piece that I did. I was thinking about it yesterday. Actually, I was talking about it on stream as well, which is I feel like there is the whole emphasis on quantity over quality, which I think is very valid. But as an intermediate artist, it is kind of important for me to every once in a while, like push pieces as much as I can, which is like quality over quantity, which is like what I've done for this last piece. Because I spent 3 weeks on it, which I've never done on most pieces. There was a lot of exploration and whatnot. But I think it just, for me, it's more of like a milestone to where I can look back and tell, okay, I have grown over the last 1 year or whatever.
How sad is it that you could finish 100 days of sketching and we can use your 100 days of sketching as a reference point to see all of our failed attempts at recording this podcast. Like that was our timeline. Did you start the Attack on Titan piece when we did our first attempt, or were you on like a completely different piece?
I think so.
No, I think I was working on the Attack on Titan piece
Oh,
already.
thank God. That makes me feel a little better now, not gonna lie.
No, but the thing is, he started one artwork and we tried to record it 2 times in the middle, and he finished it before we start the third one, which is actually sad for the Wrong Layer podcast.
Which
I mean,
he's a
if
part
anything,
of,
it's
so
like
it's equally sad.
But yeah, that is all I have to say.
What have you been up to, Manish, for the third
Mm.
fucking time in the same week?
Well, I think I have already told you guys this before in the previous recording, but I'm gonna just say this again for the sake of the people who are listening to it. I started this art series about this character called Milkman. So this is a very absurd idea, and I just wanted to mix media, like mix not media per se, mix different ideas into it. Like it's sort of a creepy pasta kind of artwork, but then it just ruins like that theme is just ruined by the presence of this very background kind of character called Milkman. So what happens is this Milkman is like he just delivers milk to these all sort of places, and yeah, and that's about it, and that's about what I'm trying to do this, I think, for at least 6 to 7 more weeks, just because that's what I do. I just post one artwork every week, and uh that's about my art thing.
How is it a creepy pasta thing?
It looks too nice. It looks too nice to be creepypasta to. It's more. I feel more fantasy.
Okay, yeah, more fantasy, I guess. But not very creepy kind of thing. But
I
yeah,
think it's because of your color palette. Your color palette is
yeah, it's very
too
dark.
soothing.
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
know.
oh,
I
this
don't
is
know.
nice. It's like Amazon, the rainforest. Nothing creepy can happen here.
Yeah. So what happened is when I was working on my desktop, it just looks really bright, and as soon as I uploaded it, it's like in my phone, it's very dark. It kind of looks dark, and I just
Right.
thought that, oh, maybe this is. But then I realized that I should have made it a little brighter. But yeah, this is more of a fantasy than a creepy pasta kind of artwork. So that's the art part of my week. So do you guys want to be more
Wait,
personal?
do you have part of your week which is not art related?
Yes. There
Oh damn!
something
What happened,
so
So, do you
dude?
have a life?
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, there's this one thing called
That's what you.
one thing happened that's called life. But anyway, like I don't know. Should are we doing like personal things?
Hey, just say, bro.
Okay, so
I mean, whatever you want to share, don't have to share like if you broke up or something.
yeah, okay, fine. So there's a funny bit in it as well. So what happened is so I have had my gallbladder stone issues, okay, for a really long time. So
Oh,
I went to do a scan this time around. Like it I haven't checked it since a year. So I just went to see like what's up, what's the update, what's going on. So
it's not your Instagram state. What? Why are you so casual about this?
no, it's not the funny bit is going to come. So I just wanted to say this because it's like really weird. So I went to check, and then they set me down, and they did the scan and all, and then they said that your gallbladder has become smaller. So in the beginning they were talking a lot of things like what you can do, what not to do, and all that, and they started saying gallbladder. Eventually they changed the name into GB. Okay. So they were saying ki your GB has shrunk down. And I just couldn't stop myself. And knowing me, I just say to the two
Oh,
nurses there,
I see exactly
yeah.
where this is going.
What
I,
are
s- I,
you?
I, I I told them, are you saying that my GB has become MB now? And they
Ah,
were
fucking
not
knew
very
it. Ah.
They were not
Oh,
impressed. They just looked at me and like for a second there was a pause and then they said, "Yeah, you know what? Take this. Collect the test tomorrow and go check with the surgeon or whatever." But yeah, that
You
was the
know, you know,
highlight of
on
my.
no, shut up.
Okay.
When people say artists are, very introverted, they can't talk to people, they're sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. Because of you, I have a bad life. Do you realize? You are the cause for it.
What? How?
Because you say stupid shit to normal people and they think I'm you. That's the issue. Fucking
But
um,
they.
but
Mm,
yes,
yeah. But
if we
that's
are
the.
keeping that part in, that I think is I'm sorry for whoever had to listen to
yeah.
that.
I'm so sorry. I hope you have a good day. But if any one of you is having a gallbladder issue, then high five.
Please don't do that. Go get checked out, and don't say these things to your doctor.
We can be we can be gallbladders.
Okay. Before
Anyway. Uh,
before we swiftly try to move on from
yes.
that thing, I wanted to give a shout out. We thought of doing like a shout out every single episode.
Dude, based on the number of shoutouts Vishal has already gotten in her failed attempts.
Yes, that is true. But this week's shout out goes to Sketchboards on Instagram, aka Vishal Gulve. He is an artist and musician who helped us with a lot of the audio on here, with like the intro music and a few other stuff. But yes, big shout out to him. He also creates a bunch of some really cool art. So if you are interested in live loop music or want to just look at some really cool art, go check out Sketchboards on Instagram. We'll also probably link it in the description, so I don't need to
No,
spell
we
it out.
definitely will.
Yay.
You shout someone out like, how do you find them? You cannot. That is the that is the deal.
You'll have to look for it.
But
Yeah. But
based
yeah.
on our experience with recording this podcast, where we actually did a good job at planning everything out, the pre-production stuff, how we're
Yeah.
gonna record it, how we're gonna edit it, adding filters to our audios, all that shit. We planned it really well, and none of it has gone to plan, from what I understand.
I
We
mean, the
we
filters are
tried.
still helping. Our voice sounds nice,
Yeah,
I
but
hopefully.
like
mean,
the plan, like the overall plan that we had of recording, putting out the podcast, and
yeah.
editing it,
Oh yeah, yeah. The
it
timeline is
Yeah.
has
fucked.
it
Yeah.
has gone to shit. Which is a great segue. Where how do you plan for a career in art? uh, which I think is very similar. It is like a very good parallel to life, where you can plan all you want, but if things go to shit, they go to shit. So for an artist, I've constantly gotten questions about whether I should go to art school, whether I should just learn from YouTube. Do I do engineering and then give up halfway and then do art, or do I, a lot of how to get into the art world, especially when it comes to the studying part of it. So, personally speaking, I have not gone to any art school ever, and knowing Joash, I know he hasn't either. But Manish, you have
I
gone to art
have.
school,
Yes.
and how was your experience with art school?
My experience was, let's say, in India, the art school or the animation institutes and all that. It's not very. I know it might sound a little bit. Uh.
Sad,
Not. Yeah. It is sad. And also
demoralizing,
not demoralizing. What is that word? When
disappointing.
it's actually all of those. It's
Yeah,
actually all
that
of.
word. Any word I give you, like, yeah, that's correct, but not entirely.
No, I just forgot the term. That's But anyway, so yeah, so it's not very a good situation in India regarding the art school and animation institutes and all that. But the but one but some sorry, some advantages that can come from visiting an art school is you interacting with the your kind of people, like the artists who are also trying to learn about their industry and how it's how it's there, and also like the teachers who are there to help you and all that. So basically, yeah, so like you get a lot of idea about the whole industry if you go to an art school. I feel like personally, I mean, these days everything is available in the internet, and also you can just sit at home and you can research about everything that is out there. But at that time, I don't want to sound too old like a boomer, but at that time, yes, I was very like I didn't know what was going on. I didn't even know that art was a career. So I started like I had to change art schools because of some issue. The first art school I went to was in Kolkata, and I was a young child. I was a kid then, and I.
What?
Okay.
You said the same word in three different ways. I was a young child, kid.
So I was I was very young then, and I was when they said ki there is they are having some affiliation issue with the university. I got like spooked or shocked, and then I had to like change my arts this thing art institute. So eventually I went to Dehradun, where I spent 4 years. Three out of that I spent for the degree, and the fourth one I just stayed at home and practiced.
Do you think
So hmm,
between like the years that you spent at home practicing and the degree thing, would
hmm,
you
hmm.
say like do you think you would have improved better if you had like I don't know an additional time with education, or do you think like at this point would you rather have just stayed at home and studied the entire time, or would you
I
rather have spent a
yes,
little more time in school?
definitely. No, I would have rather stayed at home and studied, because I think I think the thing that I learned in art school I can easily learn from internet these days.
Yeah.
Like there's like smaller courses going on, and then you have the YouTube videos, you have the like you have all the sources.
So that's what I
Maybe,
wanted to
huh?
get it out of the way. Where it's like I want to make sure that people get our personal bias out of the way,
Yeah.
because we are. I think we are all just because of how much we've done. We're and also additional just the fact that we know we're already like in a place where we sort of can see that we don't need the education anymore.
Yeah.
So it's more
Right.
of like in hindsight, it's like I don't really need it. I could run it on my own.
Yes, yes,
But
definitely.
just to put it out there, it's that all of us, I think, are more biased towards not going to art school.
Yeah.
So get that out of the way. But then I sort of wanted to talk about some of the pros and cons of going, I guess.
Hmm.
So it's like some of the pros. What would you say, like Manish, since you went to the art school thing, and
Pros,
you're more knowledgeable than us? But you said obviously you'd rather have
huh?
not gone. But is there nothing you got, or is there still?
No, no. I think no. Like I did obviously gain a lot, but the main important thing that you get is because in art school or whatever, when you're doing projects and all, you are working with your friends. So before before you start working for a company or like any art industry or any art production houses, you are already trained to do that in your school projects, as in the art school projects. So that kind of has been quite beneficial to me, and also like interacting with fellow artists, because I started out as a very self you know s-
Fish.
I was yeah, not yes, selfish, definitely.
Yes,
I
I have
just
agreed.
I just kept everything to myself, and I didn't want to interact with that much, with people that much. So eventually, when I joined the art school, I started interacting more, and I started interacting with the teachers, and I had this urge to learn more. And when there are teachers who are supporting you and you're lifting you up, saying, "Hey, you're doing this good, but you can do better." There's always a sense of becoming more better, and also your friends, your colleagues that you are interacting with or competing with, in a sense, it also that yeah, that definitely helps you become a better artist. And yeah, that's like just the part of that's like one of the pros, a few of the
I
pros
imagine
of
I
going to
imagine
art
art
school.
schools does give you like a platform to
It is definitely.
come out of your shell a
Yeah,
little more, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. yeah, you become open to more of the ideas, more different kind of ideas. You become open to them because you're already working with different kind of artists. So those people have interest in different kind of fields. Some like 2D traditional, some like digital, and some are very like oriented towards the claymation kind of thing. And there are other people who are like involved in filmmaking and all that. So it's like you're surrounded by all these people, and which in my opinion is very helpful and like for your growth.
I actually want to get like some cliches out of the way,
Hmm.
uh, which is like, oh, if you're really passionate about something, you will learn no matter what, wherever
that
you
is
are,
that
under
is
the
true.
lamp, inside the candle. Yeah, I'm sure you can do that.
Studying under incense sticks.
Yeah, another. Yeah, I think. Oh fuck, that's the only cliche I could think of. But with all due respect to wherever the fuck Manish studied, uh, if you go to a institute like, let's say, Shishti, because I'm from
Hmm.
Bangalore, that's the one I know. I'm pretty sure you would pick up a lot more. Like the quality of an institute also matters to a certain extent, which I don't think a lot of institutes in India have, especially art institutes. They're very much focused on, oh, here's the software we will teach you, or I think more focus is on graphic design rather than anything a little more creative like illustration or
Hmm.
painting, I which is not fine art, I mean.
Yeah,
So
true, true.
make sure you do like your research before, like if I were to go to art school, which I didn't because I didn't know there was a thing called art school. I studied architecture for 3 years and then I was like, okay, this isn't for me. Uh, I genuinely have no idea where I was going with this. But wait, what were we talking about?
You're talking about some of the cliches.
Yeah,
Huh, yeah. So now that that cliche is out of the way, it is like very much how a person learns. I think that is where
yeah,
you can
exactly.
make the most efficient use of your learning. Like, if you know what is the best way for you to learn personally, like, I'm okay learning on my own. Like, I can watch videos and practice, I can watch tutorials, practice, shit like that. Or like pick up some courses on Skillshare or any kind of online learning which I can do on my own. I'm okay with it. I can pick up stuff, but I know some people can't do that. Some people need a teacher, a mentor, a school discipline where you have to go there, do get a day's work done to be able to grasp stuff. So if that is something that works for a person, I think art school is great, or any kind of school for that.
I mean, bottom line is that regardless of whether you decide to get formal education or whether you decide to use YouTube videos, you're gonna have to
Hmm.
is
Put in the
have it.
time.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
gonna have to put in the time and have enough self discipline to where you're
Yeah.
practicing even when you're not expected to practice, right? Because
Hmm.
like with something like art, it can get really competitive. And
Yeah.
so on
Yeah.
one hand, it's like you want to be better than everyone else, right? Because if you're just as good or not as good as someone else, then there is not as much reason for someone to hire you. Now, that's not to say that just you're not the best person in your city, you're not the best artist in your city, you're not going to get hired. There is a lot of demand. But in general, I think as an artist, you'd want to be doing as good as you can. And so if you don't really have that drive to like push as much as you want, then it's not that it's the art skill that's holding you back, but in general, that sort of mindset doesn't really help if you're going into something like freelance. This is not even about art, but any sort of like freelance field where you're competing against other people.
Yeah. And the other thing, like, I think this is like the most important thing in my opinion when it comes to like going to an institute which is very art focused is, I mean, the degree obviously, because
Yeah.
it's obviously an advantage no matter
It
what you do, because
it is.
especially in India, it holds quite a bit of value. Even when you're in a creative field, it doesn't matter as much because if your portfolio is good, it can overshadow your degree. But it is good to have one because people who are not in a creative field, who do not know the importance of a very well built portfolio, they will care about the degree because that is like a guaranteed proof that even though it might not be, but for them it's like, oh, he has a degree, which means he's finished college, which means he knows stuff.
Yeah.
I think it depends on who you're working with. If you're working with clients
Yeah.
who aren't in the art field, so for example, you're working with other like commercial clients who have no idea what it is, but they can look at your account and they can see your page, and you have like a degree on there.
Yeah,
Then you
sure.
sort of have a chance, like they're better. You have a higher chance of getting you there. But I feel
Yeah,
like when people are discovering your stuff, they're not discovering you through your degree, right? Like how
yeah,
often is it
No,
that
no.
someone who is coming into contact
absolutely.
with your work, like their first thing is they see your degree. I think you're
Yeah,
only getting a degree if you're working in sort of like a non, if you're looking for a job in a not non-art place. So for example, if you're applying for a job at, say, like any of the companies over here like Swiggy or Zomato or any of the companies based in India, but they're not art companies, so these are like food delivery companies, for example, but they still need artists and illustrators or designers for their stuff, right? And so over there, if you're trying to get a job over there, then your degree certainly helps because they see that and they're
yeah,
like, okay, there is credibility over there. But I feel like if you're doing freelance, people aren't really finding you through your degree, right? They're finding you through your
Yeah,
art. And at that point, they've
exactly.
already decided that they sort of want your
yeah,
stuff if they contact you.
Yeah, I remember when I was in my first art institute, animation institute. Since I said ki there was a small problem, and everyone freaked out because at that time I did not know that if you have a good portfolio, like your degree is, it doesn't that matter that much, because people would approach to you based on your skills. So at that time, it was so scary to me. I think like everyone around me was, degree nahi milegi, and that literally freaked me out. I
damn.
was like, shit, my career is going to shit and all that, because at that time I didn't know, and I just feel कि if I knew back then, I wouldn't have cared that much, and I wouldn't have wasted like one more year of my life.
And the thing is, like, we're comparing an art creative field to, let's say, a little more academic field, like, let's say, engineering or doctorship, where,
Yeah.
of course, your degree matters a lot more.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Uh, because, and that's the thing, right? So when people, and that's the generalized idea in India. So when people look at a creative field, that is the perspective they're looking at it from. If they're not, if they're, they don't know much about the field,
Hmm.
it is when, and because that is the larger market right now, and if that is the kind of companies you're applying for, because let's be honest, if it's a corporate company, you're probably gonna get paid pretty decent.
I was thinking about it. Do you think, like you mentioned the engineering thing, right? Where, or
Hmm.
in any sort of STEM field or whatever, there is a little more emphasis on the degree.
Yeah.
But do you think it's because with art or even music, say, for example, like people who do commercial music and stuff,
Hmm.
do you think the reason that the degree isn't as important when you're working in that field is because it's more like product oriented, like no, result oriented? So, for example, if you are able to create a good result, a good illustration, or a good piece of music, then the client and doesn't really care, right? What credentials you
Yeah.
have, if they can see that you do a good job. Whereas if you're engineering, for example, like you can create a pretty building, but if you, there is like like there are people who can create like decent buildings but not know what's going on underneath. And I'm just saying, like in general, so knowing when you're hiring someone like an engineer, for are you hiring engineers or are you getting a job? But regardless, when you have an engineer working for you and they have a degree, you know that not only are they just creating something that looks good, but they sort of know what they're doing,
Mm.
even on the inside. And since the margin of danger is a lot higher with like medicine or degree or like engineering or science, rather, I think there
Yeah.
is a little more importance on making sure that you know what you're doing, because the margin for error is a lot.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, when it's the degree is more of like a short guarantee, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's not, because with a freelancer or someone without a degree, that is, you're going in very blind, because it's just like, it's your word against mine. Like, if he's saying he knows these things, then you sort of take his word for it, or like, look at his work and then evaluate
Well,
it.
it's a perceived guarantee.
Yeah. So with that, you can do with an engineer as well, but when you see the degree there, that he has gotten this degree, that fear or that guessing is immediately just erased, because like, oh, I get it, he knows what I'm looking
It
for.
puts you at ease.
Yeah. So it's mostly that. But the other most important thing, personally, because I don't have a degree, I have bias against, is that the connections that you make, the what do you say, the circles that you're in, is very, very important when you're in a creative field, because the more connections you have, the more your art is out there which is
Hmm.
giving you more and more opportunities to get into projects or jobs and shit like that. And that for a freelancer is everything, because without networking and connections, you're just stagnant. You have to reach out. So I don't think you can do anything without those connections. And that really helps when you're coming from a art institute, because you have a lot of like-minded people. You have your professors that who are also in the same field. So you're already halfway there in the industry because of all the people that you know.
Yeah.
You are saying that your connections did lead to a majority or almost like 100% of your jobs in your first
Yeah,
year going freelance, right?
easily. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Because like where else there's you're not getting any other work otherwise.
Yeah.
The only other thing you can do is like you have your work, you print it out and you're selling it. I guess that is one way of starting a business without having no connections.
I mean, I think there are other avenues for finding connections, but it's definitely a lot harder than
Yeah, yeah.
if you just already knew people in the industry or people in the same field.
If you take the stereotype of, oh, artists are reclusive, they are cooped up in a corner in their house crying all the time, and from the depression comes art. If
Uh,
you take that as a general thing, then it is way easier to have your connections in your art school and then come out into society and deal with it than just immediately go into society and then try and make connections. It is way too hard because
okay.
now you're looking, now you're guessing, is this person into art, is this someone who wants to buy? I don't know. So you're it's like way too much trial and error. But once you're in college, in art school, there are people who are your seniors, there are people who are your professors who have done this shit for you. You just need to go and ask them, or they'll tell you, or you'll figure stuff out. It is very, very easy there.
There's this misconception that comes with, like, I mean, not comes with, but a lot of younger people have that to be like a freelance artist or to be like a professional artist, you need to just be really good at art. And so you don't really consider the other thing advantages of going to art school, because no one's thinking about connections and all those different
Mm-hmm.
advantages of going to art school, because you don't think connections are important in getting a freelance thing, right? You feel like I need to be a good artist and then I get jobs. That's how it works.
Yes.
Yeah, that's partly true.
But being good at art is like 50% of the gig, or of being a freelance artist, let's say, because
Yeah.
I want to separate that from working at an art studio or whatever. But
Objectively speaking, if the better your art is, relatively prospects are better. But if your art is really good and you have no
Yeah.
connections or no ways to market it, then someone with not as good objectively speaking art, but is really good at marketing stuff, they're they're gonna be ahead, like no doubt, because society currently is very marketing oriented, right? You just have to market your stuff. Like you have to put your name
Yes.
out
not
there.
it's just that like marketing, the whole process of marketing is getting people to see you and convincing them that your product is worth spending their time or money on, right? And so if you can't market yourself, then you can't convince
Regardless of where your skill level is, yeah, like regardless of where your
Yeah.
skill
any sort of
level is,
competitive
you
field.
have to constantly market it no matter what, if you want that. But if you're going for something like,
Hmm.
let's say, concept art, or very studio based industry art, then I think your marketing isn't as important. Like you still have to put your work out there, but it is very portfolio oriented, where you send out your work to people.
Wouldn't you say like even your portfolio is sort of a form of marketing?
I mean, like that, anything you make is marketing. Yeah.
So it's like you can just put your, yeah. So like in general, whatever you're doing, if you're competing with other people, marketing is it like gives you an advantage where you're sort of thinking from the point of view of a consumer, and you're saying you can sort of evaluate what gives me an advantage over other people who are doing the exact same thing I'm doing, and so what sort of edge can I give myself here or there to make sure that I am a more likely candidate, or I'm a more suitable candidate for the people who are hiring. So it's like even with the portfolio, like you said, if you could just slap all your images just like that onto a thing, and that too is considered a portfolio, But if you sort of try to think
Yeah.
about it a little more and you try to curate it and sort of try to design in a sense that if you're looking at it as a third person with like no bias, you don't know who you are, and you're seeing your art, what gives other people the best impression of your art? And so I feel like it just in general, when you are an artist, since a lot of it is competing from a result point of view or a result oriented point of view, making sure that you can sell that result to people is very important.
I mean, like, we could just test it out now. Like, both of you have like what we consider a real job, and I'm a freelancer. So how did you guys get your job? Was it based on a merit
Ah.
of your portfolio, or did they just see the degree and they were like, and then they called you? Like, how did you get your job?
Hmm.
In my case, they didn't see any degree.
Yeah, it's the same with me. I think they just saw the portfolio.
Well, there you go, guys. Everyone who's in art school, drop out immediately. It's not worth it.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
But no, but
Fuck education.
like on my resume, I don't even have my education on
I
there. I
mean,
think, or I do have my education,
to
but I
be
think it's just
fair,
the school that I've gone to. That's it.
Yeah.
Joash.
And I don't have which class it was because for just to like clarify for people on the podcast, I have only done like my 10th grade and then I dropped out after that.
Hmm.
So the thing is, you don't want to tell people that you're.
Yeah.
This is sort of like if you're also in a similar situation, but for the record, I'm not advocating it. I would not recommend you drop out in 10th.
Yeah.
But just the point is, if you're not very comfortable with your education or you feel like that might be something that's holding you back, the best thing you can do is just not make it a huge deal. So I've still included my education in the sense that I've just given name of the school that I've gone to, but I haven't like written what exactly I did there or how till what class that was. You just want it to be there for the sake of being there. If you want, you can omit it as well if it's not super relevant to your field. But I got sort of hired on. I applied to this job on LinkedIn, where they sort of had like a questionnaire for me to fill out, which went a little more in depth and stuff. I think this questionnaire was a little unique.
What were they like? How long have you been dating for? How many moles do you have?
How many what?
Moles do you have? Like, how in depth is this? The way you're describing it.
Yeah. What are your secrets?
It was more of a sort of like a character, not a character test, but it's a little more, it's a little less formal.
It was like an aptitude test.
Yeah, so I guess you could say that because it was a little less formal. It wasn't like the usual interview questions, and sort of like judging what kind of person you are based on the answers that
What
you
was the
give.
quirkiest question they asked you? It was like, what's your favorite food?
Why? How is that quirky? It's like a.
I don't know. I couldn't think of anything. Anything quirky I could think of just sounded sexual. I was like, maybe just not ask anything.
Did they ask you khana kha liya, babu?
How is that quirky? What?
No, but I don't even know. Manish tried. It's fine. But I answered that, and I sent the questionnaire out, and then they got back to me. And I think, ironically, my job was mostly predicated on my Instagram page, since that was like a place where they could see my work. But also, I had like a portfolio that I'd built for when I was looking for jobs throughout. And so I had even gotten a couple job offers before that. And this was just completely based on my portfolio. Like I said, my resume doesn't include any education. So there isn't really much for people to go off of except my portfolio link. Yes. So yeah, and this was the job that I got ended up not being an illustration job. It ended up being a design job. So graphic design, even though my portfolio is just completely illustration.
Yeah, dude. I have like a bone to pick with companies on LinkedIn. Don't put illustrator or illustration artist, and if you're looking for a graphic designer,
Yes.
they're two very different things.
Dude, that's such a huge pet peeve.
I know you really cool companies. You think you can tell, oh, we're looking for an illustration based graphic designer. No. You're just trying that to, you're just saying that you want a graphic designer. Okay, stop company. I know. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna pretend all of these companies are listening. Stop doing this shit. Okay, just put graphic designer looking
You're-
for a graphic designer who knows how to use Illustrator. Two very different things. Write Adobe in front of that. Don't
Yeah.
put looking for an illustration artist.
from because of this Yeah, because of this statement, I think Spud is going to be blacklisted by every company.
I'm a freelancer, so it doesn't matter. Fuck you. Yeah, but like, as we were talking about art education, I want to talk about alternatives for an institute or
Hmm.
an institute level education, which are I would recommend, or like this, I've taken these courses, which are like stuff made by other artists. For example, like uh, schoolism, I think is a really good place, and most of the courses by Proco are really good. So when an artist is curating a course, I'm talking like for beginners as well, is those are pretty good if you just, like for skill development.
Gumroads as well.
I haven't picked up any beginner level course on Gumroad, so I don't know. I'm sure they're there, but like a proper full on course, like let's say from schoolism, from beginner to industry level, whatever you learn. I think I'm not sure they don't replicate the, sitting in a classroom talking to friends experience, but just pure knowledge of, and skill that you get, that I think is pretty much equivalent because you're learning the same things. And if anything, since you're learning it from artists who are in industry, you will learn the marketing part of it as well, because they are teaching you things that they know works for that industry, which I think is a little more generalized in an institute in India, specifically speaking.
Yeah, but just to play the devil's advocate on that, it's not every artist who's really good at art is as good as at teaching. And so, like, if you're a beginner, you ideally want to try to look for people who are good at teaching. So before you
Yeah,
buy a course, look through like reviews or try to have someone who can vouch for those, especially if you're spending money on it.
most of these courses will have like a trial class, or will have like one class which is like free to watch or free to learn or whatever. So
Yeah,
take a I took that because I buy them anyways, because like I'm sure of myself that I'll learn. I'm like, okay, I've paid for this, so I have to now at this point. There's no other alternative.
I think once you're an intermediate artist, especially like, I mean, just this is just speaking from my experience, where like early on you sort of need someone to
Yeah, absolutely. I
hold your
agree.
hand and
Yeah.
guide you through like certain fundamentals and do's and don'ts and whatnot. But once you get into like an intermediate stage where you sort of understand the basics on your own.
Yeah, for sure.
The sort of courses that have been benefiting me the most recently were just videos of people drawing or like watching
Hmm.
Twitch streams from different artists and just looking at how they draw and how they approach certain things and like artists that I like. So just looking at how they create shapes, what their process is, and just those like they may have like certain shorthands that they use, which are like tricks, I guess it's a more common word, which makes things a little easier for them and stuff like that. So those are usually not that they're not usually as spoken about in like tutorial videos or videos which are trying to explain things to you as an artist, and those are things you only get from looking at other artists draw. And so I think in the year 2021 we are definitely in a privileged position where you have the opportunity to look at multiple world level artists and see them draw in real time, which I think is very undervalued.
In like current situation, I think there isn't much difference between a school, like an actual school institute, and a course, because they're both online. And some of these courses do have like Zoom classes and shit.
During the
uh
pandemic.
yeah, until the school starts, then okay, they're different. And like how me and Manish, we spoke on the our previous recording, which was that what we thought would have been best for us is like, which I think I relatively did, was take up like a 1 year course where and learn all the basics of everything, like learn the basics of all the softwares that you need to know, and basic art stuff, which is like you have your principles of design, composition, shading, line, perspective, yada yada, all that base stuff. And once you get that, now you have enough base knowledge that you can try to learn on your own
Well,
at that point and start.
yeah. I mean, in every art institute or every small this thing courses that you do, most common thing that they teach you is just the basic idea of a software if you're a digital artist, and the rest is up to you, right? Just to take the basic idea and then create your own thing from there onward. I definitely like looking back, I think I should have just taken a 1 year course and taken the rest of the 4 years just to sit at home and practice, because those that I think that
Yeah.
was the most I don't know what I was about to say, but yeah.
Useful.
You sort of get a bulk of the information in the starting, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. And also you have like 4 more years to just practice by yourself, which is the best way in if you want to improve in your art.
I'd have probably gone for like the like if I could redo it, which I don't want to. It's like
Huh.
this is just an ideal case, but
Yeah.
like I'm happy with what I've done so far. But I would
Hmm.
have probably done like a degree course or just like a course at a sort of semi-reputable institute, just so that I know that the people who are going there are also serious about getting in there. It's not just like people going there for the sake
Yeah.
of going there, or you can just pay money and get in there,
Right.
which is the case
This
still in a
is
lot of
this is
places. But
actually this is actually
Yeah.
so true.
for the
Some of our
most part, you want to have
classmates.
like people who are also passionate about what they're doing. And so when you go
Yeah, true,
to,
true.
that's the difference between going to like a reputable place and a place where it's like not like it's not as popular, I guess, because the education quality isn't going to differ as much. The amount you're going to learn or how good an artist you're going to be is not really going to change. It's mostly just the crowd that changes. And so I probably would have done like a degree course and just messed around for all 4 or 3 years, not really focusing on
Right.
the education, but
Yeah,
just the
true,
fact
true, true.
that you get people to hang out with and have friends. And I wish I
And
had more friends at this point, but that's another story for another day.
No, what happened was, even in my batch, I think there were a few people who just joined in just to spend time. Like they were not interested in literally anything that we were doing.
that is
They
insane,
would they
no?
would do it, but yeah, it is very insane. They would do it, but it's like
They're doing it for the sake of it.
for the sake of it. But I just at that time I just thought, oh fuck these guys, man. They are so privileged. Instead of going like also there's this thing.
I
Like
mean, that is privilege. You
I
need to,
think,
it
yeah,
is, you're not wrong.
definitely. No, there's also this thing where people, like, let's say parents of some children, they think कि, like art is art, कोई भी कर लेगा. So
Ah, yeah. That's the sentiment there.
you have some time in between, between going to a foreign country. So why don't you like take a short-term course or something like that? So it's very demeaning in a sense.
It's like vacation, and the bonus for the vacation is education. It's not the other way around.
But they don't know the creative input you require, because
Yeah.
डिग्री के बाद या फिर कोर्स के डिप्लोमा के बाद you can't do anything because you just joined in for the fun sake,
Wait,
right?
I don't think I mentioned this when I was saying, but ideally, when I say that I would have just gone in there and messed around, I'm not saying I wouldn't like do anything at all. I'd sort of practice my art and work on stuff that I actually want to work in my own time.
Yeah.
Right.
And then if it's sort of
Right.
lined up in sort of in terms of the education where there is something that I'm really interested in, obviously I'd pick that up. But the idea is that if there is things I see that I know aren't going to be useful, I sort of still do them, but I'm not going to put like my 100% in there. I'd rather spend the bulk of my time working on my art outside. But now there is also the 8 hours a day that I get to socialize with other people, which I'm not going to get if I'm sitting at home and practicing. So that's sort of what I'm trying to go at with the go to art school, but don't really put my or give all my attention there.
Right.
Because I think that's for me would have been the ideal middle ground.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. Self-taught artists, when you're learning on your own or like learning from courses, one of the most important thing that people miss out is critique, because there is only so much self-analysis that you can do on your own. You need outside perspective and input in order to increase that rapid growth, which you really miss out on. So when you're in a school, I guess even these courses offer critique for sure. So that is where you learn the most.
When you're in a school, it's like already done for you, right? You have people already who are
Yeah.
assigned to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, and because
Yeah.
like when you're doing on your own, all you're looking at is like your work, the thing that you're learning from, and people on Instagram or wherever you get your content from, right?
Yeah.
But in a school setup, you're looking at others, actually doing their thing physically right next to you.
Mm-hmm.
And then there you have questions like, okay, why I like what they're doing, why are they doing it like that, how can I apply similar things to myself? So that learning environment is like, it'll help you, like your leveling up will be a lot more faster if you're getting critique constantly and you're working on those critiques. But like as a self-taught artist, it takes a little longer because also like you get used to critique when you're in school, I guess. Like it isn't as negative, but on social media when someone critiques you,
It's not really critique most of the time. It's like they
Yeah.
say it's critique, but it's just
I think
them.
people who are not artists and who give credit, critics, I think they are easy to please because because they just see anything and they will like, holy shit, this is so cool. Oh, bhai, kya bana diya, bhai. Like,
yeah.
it's
Also,
very,
another
huh.
bone I have to pick: people who think they can't draw. Stop saying, "Oh, I can't draw a line." Shut up! You can draw a line, okay? It's use
Yeah.
scale.
I can't
Fuck
even draw a
it.
stick man, dude.
Yeah, dude,
Like
what is
so annoying.
that?
This is what you, dude. I don't know if a blind person can draw a stick man, but I'm sure they could. So you can do a little
They
bit
could
of
if they tried.
specs.
Put in the
Yeah.
drills
Yeah,
every day, like 3 hours a day
dude.
is working on a stick man.
No,
One
no.
day you'll get there.
If you give a scale and a pencil to a blind person, they can draw a straight line.
Yeah.
Okay. So when I tell people just use scale, man. If you can't draw a straight line, use a scale. अरे नहीं यार scale से भी नहीं नहीं, then you have some other issues.
Dude,
It's
one of my
Yeah,
nothing to
dude,
do
biggest
with drawing.
fears
you don't have
is
hands.
going blind. So it's like if I don't know what I do with myself, because if I go blind, or if I go like if I'm in a position where I have to stop, like where I'm straining my eyes too much, and I don't mean like just naturally, but I mean like if I suddenly get like a condition where I can't poke or like draw something for more than like a few minutes a day, or something that's restricting me heavily, then I do not know how I would handle that.
One of my worst fear is to like, getting in an accident and losing my hands.
Oh shit! I thought you were gonna say the snake thing, where a snake comes from the toilet and like
Oh,
bites
no,
your
no, no,
butt,
no, no, no. That's a
or was it
that's a
someone
very
else's fear?
common. That's very common fear. Everyone says that, like a snake coming out
I mean,
toilet.
no
What?
shit, bro. Who you think? Yeah, I'm not fearful of that. Let the snake
I
come.
mean,
I'll take it
that
in. What?
I don't think that happens in like urban areas, like
Yeah, it's not
rural
really a thing in
areas.
urban areas.
Rural areas, I have encountered actually like snakes in my toilet. So yeah, that's fine. It's not that big a deal. You just wait for a
What?
while, shoo it away,
What do you
throw
mean?
throw
That's not
salt
big
at
a
it.
deal.
I don't know. Try to get. Dude, there have been like cobras and green snakes in
Oh
our
god,
bathroom, But- which is very scary. But if it keeps
I can
happening like
imagine.
a lot, then it's like, okay, what's the new? What's new? Unless there's like a dragon sitting in your washroom, this fear is invalid.
No, no. If you see a snake in your washroom or in your inside your commode, I think you should just
Hmm.
shit. And be like, what are you gonna do now, bitch? Eat my shit. There's no comeback for that.
I think it's more like once you no, but isn't it like more like one as soon as you sit down, it's gonna like get agitated and bite. I don't know. I'm not
Agitated. Yeah, that's
speaking
the.
from experience because you're blocking off the light. I don't know. I imagine it's
You're
something
painting a
approaching it.
very graphic
It depends
image.
on how you sit, right? Like, oh god, we have gone so left with this conversation. Let's bring it back a little.
Yeah.
But you could like shit
Wait,
and just
are
throw it
we?
at the.
Yeah, fucking, it doesn't Joey Diaz do that?
Are we facing the snake or are we facing away from the snake?
How do what? How do you
When you're
sit in your
sitting,
toilet?
there's the like, what if the snake is like enters when you're already sitting?
Oh
What?
yeah, that is like what if it?
Yeah.
I think he's saying what if it comes in like it
Uh-huh.
catches you midway through
Mid
it.
activity. Mid activity. What if it comes to you? Do you finish your thing or you just run away
Uh,
instantly?
I depending if I don't drink. So if for some reason I have drunk on this day where I have this encounter with the snake, I'm assuming I have a lot of confidence. So I'm gonna say bring it on, or I will bring on it my shit.
This how did we get to this tangent?
Yes,
I
yes.
was talking about my fear of going blind.
Oh,
And
okay. And
you're
I
talking
said
about your fear of snake biting you in the asshole.
No, I've
No.
always had this fear only. Like, imagine
Of
driving,
going
you're
blind.
like, hey, listen, no, listening to music, driving on the road, like a bike or something, like a really cool bike in a leather jacket with like sunglasses and shit. And then you just slip and then you
Or
twist
like a
your
car
hand.
comes out of nowhere and
Yeah,
hits
yeah.
you.
Car with like a Mad Max, a Mad Max Jeep comes in by your side and just chops off your arm and just like
And
run
they're like,
away.
Manish, are wo dekh udhar. And when you look, they're like, ching, ching. And then fuck
Look a
off.
eagle, look a eagle over there. And when I look at it, and then they chop my hand off and then run away.
Oh, that's
And then
funny.
I can never draw again.
But no, based on what Joash said, I had like an interesting question, which is, so we all know Kim Jong-gi. If you don't know Kim Jong-gi, find out. So Kim Jong-gi is, I consider him in the modern day masters of art, right? So do you think, touch wood, I hope Kim Jong-gi does not go blind, but if he does, do you think he's still able to do it because of his insanely large visual memory? Wow, irony. Uh, do you think he could
It's
still
Hmm.
visual
just
library.
draw?
Maybe from like constant practice, I think he'll definitely.
Like, or I think it would take him less time to
Huh.
start drawing again. The like I for me it would take probably like years to get
Yeah,
used to drawing.
yeah.
Okay, but I think he could. Do you think he could do it? Like, if he
I
went blind,
think
could he just draw like he does?
Can blind people draw? Like, is there other cases of people who are blind who can draw?
I
there
mean,
Well,
I
it's
think
might
like a
they
be.
lot
There
of.
might have
paint and
been.
call it
It's not.
abstract art.
It's like you'd have to. And I don't know, unless you're putting like markers for yourself, like physical
Hmm.
markers which you can touch and sort of make like a mental map of how it looks on the page. You sort
Right.
of need to have like you need to have like a certain amount of coordination to be able to draw, right? Like there are certain, for example, there is the art exercise where you draw without looking at the canvas. So you're looking at the
Yeah,
reference and you're
yeah.
sort of
Contouring.
tracing it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're contouring a certain subject. So like that requires like you don't have to look at something to draw for that because you're sort of placing the fact that you're not taking your pencil off the paper is that marker, right? But I'm thinking, would you even want to draw because you can't look at what you're drawing anymore? So does it make a sense?
Hmm.
But in contouring, yeah, like you're able to draw without looking at your drawing is because you're looking at the subject, which is still giving you information for your hand to move. So in Kim Jong-il's case, he has drawn a lot
Visual
of things.
memory.
So he knows what a thing looks like. He
Yeah.
doesn't need to keep looking at a subject to, use it as a reference. His reference is his mind.
No. Referencing. I don't think he has to do it. He can do anymore. But like
No shit,
when
he's
you're
blind.
yeah, when you're when someone is drawing, you have it's not just the muscle memory. Like there's a hand-eye coordination as well. So if he doesn't have the eye, it's just the hand and mind coordination at that point. So I don't know. Like he might take a while to actually start drawing, but I think at some point he
I
might be
mean, for
actually
me, the
fine.
larger
Yeah,
question is, would you even want to draw if you can't look at your own drawings after you're done?
I
Hmm,
mean,
that
isn't
is
that
also
like
true.
a really mic drop moment? I'm so good, I don't need to look at what I draw, even
No,
after
I'm not saying you need to look
Yeah,
at.
no.
I'm saying once you finish your drawing, you can't look at what you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Only
then it's fine.
and
No, like if any critique you get, you'll be like, bruh, I'm blind. The fuck are you saying?
no,
What am I gonna
this
improve
I
on?
think
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that there is a certain amount of dopamine or like there is a certain satisfaction you get when you finish your drawing. But now, regardless of how good or bad the drawing looks, you won't get that feedback and you can't look at it and tell, yeah, it looks good because you're not looking at it. It's more of just like an internal thing where would you even want to draw if you are blind and you can't look at what you're drawing or you can't see what you're drawing?
I think when you're blind, depending upon how optimistic a person, your life is probably not that great. So the fact that you're still able to pursue art and are able to draw, that is a really good dopamine hit in my opinion. Like,
No,
so
but
the
don't you think
product at
they
that
would?
point isn't that. I mean, I think it would hit someone a lot more. Like if you were not blind and you're making art, and now you're blind, that
Mhm.
might be a little more regressive. But someone who's been blind for a long time and then start drawing as they're blind, for them, I think like I can draw, bitch. I don't
I don't
care.
think I don't think I'd draw
Yeah.
if I went blind. I think if I went blind, I'd probably be drawn to other forms of like other forms of creativity. So like I'd be drawn towards some like music or something where it's more just physical and audio. I don't need to see what I'm doing,
Hmm.
or like I do need to see, but it's like after a certain point I can like
Yeah,
it's just muscle memory.
makes
You're not
sense.
even looking at it.
Yeah,
And so like I feel like I'd probably just stop doing art because there is for me like if once I stop I can't see it anymore. I don't think that there is any value in it for me personally.
uh, I think that if I go blind, that is when I would switch to abstract art, because I
You
think
just
that's a
dip,
great market for that.
you just dip your hands in paints and they're just like
Yeah,
all over the
and
canvas.
uh, and because of like societal stereotype, they think, oh, he's blind, he's thinking on a different
Or or
level. There's so
or
much
like
philosophy inside of him.
He's seeing
yeah,
colors in his head.
or like take a or just take a black paint and paint all across the canvas and term it as name the art piece as my world or some shit like that. It's so artistic and
Yeah, dude. They're like, oh my god, he's not seeing the world the way we do. This is insane.
yeah, oh
No
my
No,
shit,
god.
bitch.
you could use like a bunch of different colors and just put it on a board and title it "My World," and people will think you're seeing in colors and you're seeing like some sort of
Oh shit.
LSD
Yeah,
version of the
Oh
world.
shit.
they're like, dude, this is where have we gone with this fucking conversation? We were like, should you go to art college? Are you blind? Okay, let's reel it back a little bit.
No, but I just wanted to
So
finish on that, which is like once you go
Yeah.
blind, now you're completely drawing for other people, right? You're not drawing for yourself anymore. Or is there any sort of benefit in drawing if you're blind?
Yeah, exactly, right?
it is
I don't
more
know.
self-satisfaction in the fact that not in terms of product, but in terms of process at this point. Because the product has to mean nothing to you.
There will be the critics who are going to critique the work, the
There
blind,
are no critics.
blind.
There are no critics now. The critics have to shut the fuck up. Only blind people can critique this art.
A family member, let's say. So they will see the artwork and they will just go, "Hey, this is nice. This is so cool." But the blind people will never know that, right? His whole
Yeah,
life he
like
will
you
just
can't you
live.
can't critique a blind artist's work. You have no
Yeah.
right.
I mean, they
Unless
could
you
be
are
completely
blind
bullshitting
yourself.
you, or they could like tell you that it's shit. Either way, you have no way of confirming it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But anyways, so coming back to the original topic, which is like, should you study art in India? Which is like I would say, like I said last time, is think of it like buying an iPad from Apple. Uh, the iPad that you can buy for your budget is the iPad you should go for. So the education you can buy for your budget is the education you should go for, is what I would recommend. Do you guys have any closing remarks on this subject?
I think in India it puts you in a little bit of an advantage where even though there are like there are way fewer art colleges in India than there are outside, but it isn't as expensive in here than it is in a lot of other countries. Like the art education here, at its most expensive, costs about the same as like a mid-level engineering or a doctorate thing, because like it's not
Hmm.
very expensive.
It is definitely more expensive than a general engineering for sure. It like ask an architecture student how much money he spends. You'll probably spend around that much
But
because
I
of the
think
other
in
shit that you have to
from
buy.
what I've
But
heard, I have no experience in other countries, but from what I've heard, art school in other countries tends to be more
yeah, yeah,
expensive
for
than normal
sure, for
education.
sure.
So I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
we
for
are
sure.
at a bit of an advantage. I guess there is not as much demand, so they don't really they can't ask more.
I guess people just have to decide what they are actually interested in. Like,
Hmm.
is it 2D, 3D, visual effects, whatever? Because when we say art is just the overall thing, right? Overall creative. Yeah. So if you like 2D, I guess just personally I would have, which I didn't, but I would definitely, if I had the knowledge back then, I would have just gone for like 1 year short term course and spend the rest of the 2 years just practicing. But what happened was when I went to the art school, I was I instantly liked the 2D part. The second year was 3D. The first year was 2D, the second year was 3D, then the third year was just visual effects. So I actually like 2D, so I gave most of my you know uh, uh, concentration. Yeah, I concentrated more in the first year. Then the second year, I was like, okay, chalo, seek lete hain, 3D is fine. So I know the basics, and same thing with the visual effect part as well. But I think the third year, I just didn't go to the college at all. I just stayed at home and practice. So yeah, I guess it also depends on people's preferences. If you like 2D honestly, then just go for that specialization. Like, I mean, it's helpful if you branch out a little, you get knowledge about everything.
Yeah. At the end of the day, do what you want, like we did. Which you
Yeah, the
can't go wrong
takeaway
with
from this
that.
episode is up to you.
Do what you
Sure.
want. Yes.
It's up to you.
Because at the end of the day, if you fuck up, you can blame. There's no one else to blame. Okay.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But now, we on that note, we can move on to our next segment. Fish Tank is a segment where we use a random object generator to come up with two objects, and each one of us has to come up with a unique way of combining them and selling it to the rest of us. And yeah, we'll do this live, so none of us know what objects we are gonna get. So let's begin. Who wants to volunteer to go first?
Joash can go first.
Wow.
Throwing him under the fucking bus. He's like, I won't tell. I will go first. Instead, I will point
That
out to the
that
other
one
person.
kid, that one kid in school who raises your hand instead of raising his.
Not to answer, but to tell. Imagine like teachers ask a
Yeah.
question, you raise it and stand up. I think that guy knows the answer you asked him.
Yeah.
Okay, so Joash's two objects are thermometer and artificial flowers.
If it was normal flowers, I could have done it. They've really thrown me under the bus here. There's no picture of artificial flowers as well, so it's like I don't even have visual feedback. It's a gray box.
I can take this if you want. Then you can take mine.
Oh, if you have, yeah, go for it.
Cool. So I have decided to step in and take this
Okay.
over, and then Joash will just take my turn.
So we're the
So,
judges.
yeah. Okay. Warning for the listeners. I'm gonna say some real disgusting stuff. Okay.
I mean, the
So
viewers have to
have-
watch it.
Yeah. I mean, I will put something on the screen. Don't worry. Okay. Are we ready? Can I pitch?
Yes,
Yes, go ahead.
Go ahead.
In this times of pandemic, we are always trying to check our temperature to see if we are on the right side of the, COVID line or whatever. So, have you ever wondered or wanted your butt to look beautiful? Have you ever
What?
wanted it to look a little more nature-like? So, here's our product. We call it a flower thermometer, where it's a new thermometer where we have a thermometer but with flowers on the other end of it. So every time you put the thermometer inside your butt to check your temperature, your butt looks like it's two mountains holding a bouquet of flowers. And then you take it out, you can see your temperature, and it's all good.
Interesting.
Do you have to wash it after use?
It is recommended.
I
And
have
how
a
big is
question.
the flower?
So it is magnetized. You can add more flowers if you want.
Oh, okay.
Does it come in red color?
I'm sure if you put it deep inside, yeah.
Oh, wait. Wouldn't that be yellow?
Yeah, I guess you have to go a little deeper than that. My man.
Ah! This just became the worst.
There is the concern of the safety hazard where, since it's magnetized, isn't there the obvious safety hazard that kids could take it out and eat it?
So the flowers, this is for 23 and plus. People below 23 have to take their temperature the regular, the old fashioned,
The boring way.
the boring way. Definitely. Thank you. But anyone adult who's, how do the kids say, lit, or, are bussin', I would recommend the flower thermometer, where, you make your butt look natural like a bouquet holder.
I don't know, man. I don't think I want
But
that.
won't it fall out? Isn't that the
I mean, like, you ideally do not want to keep it in there for too long. You just put it in, wait a few seconds, take it out, and for that brief seconds is where you take your pictures,
We
whatever you
can
want.
we can
It's up
still
to you.
check
Live your
our
life.
temperature, right?
Yes, that's kind of the point of it, sir. Yes,
Can we put it in our armpits?
if yes, but who wants an armpit to look
I mean,
like it's holding a bouquet of flowers? Just put a bouquet of flowers. Why do you want to?
I want.
But yeah, I guess you could do it. You could put it in your mouth also,
I mean, it's
if
up
you
to the
want.
customer to.
Absolutely. Our device is very, you know,
versatile?
versatile. Yes.
How big is the thermometer?
It comes in various sizes. So it's up to you. We like to call it. It will fill any gaping
Oh my
hole
god.
that you have in life.
I see.
But as I was saying, I'm very happy that you brought up the question of the children's safety. I would say you take the thermometer once you're done with your process. You just put it back into a vase, and it looks like a normal flower
With
pot
magnet
with the
flowers.
thermometer inside and the flowers outside.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. It looks like a really nice decorative piece, which is occasionally very functional in times of these pressing times.
Okay.
But yes, that is my pitch.
Okay, well, in
For
terms
this
of
pitch.
I'll go first, which is
Okay.
in terms of the ideation of the product. I think it's very cool. I think the magnetic flowers are the nice touch, since they're like quite modular. You can sort of customize it according to your needs. I'm assuming you get like additional kits for like add-ons where you can like change the flowers up. You can put like I'd probably want to see like
Yeah.
different things you can put on there, so you can maybe have like magnetic alphabets or something that you can put on there, or you can have I don't know, like a magnetic crocodile face which is like smiling, but they just like stickers almost. uh
Yeah, the potential is sky
yeah, the
high.
potential is definitely
Yeah,
quite high.
you can
And
do.
like as long
Yes.
as like the safety regulations are followed, I think that should be good. But in terms of whether I would invest in it, I would have to say no, just purely because I am and for that reason I'm out.
Okay.
What? I probably have to beep that out.
For the record, there is nothing wrong with it.
But
Okay, Manish.
huh.
Would I get your investment? It does come in the color red. The
Hmm.
flowers and
The
the
color
thermometer.
does intrigue me, but if
Right.
I think about it,
But
if I think about it, uh, I don't know. What if I just want it separately? Are these detachable? What if I want to?
yes,
What
yes,
if I
of
want to
course,
hold the
of
flower
course.
on the on one hand and check my temperature on the left armpit?
Yes, you could absolutely do that, but again, it is not really unconventional to do that. It looks very boring,
I
may
mean,
I say.
it's what we are
But
used
yes,
to.
you can. You have the ability to do that for sure.
When I'm like actually really sick, when I'm feeling sick, but I want to show my parents that I am not, so I just take my temperature secretly. So it looks like if I'm holding a flower.
And look beautiful at the
It looks
same
like I'm
time
holding a flower
in your
in
butt.
my
Yes.
armpit, not butt. I'm not gonna do that.
Or yeah,
Why are you
sure,
so
your armpit as
adamant
well.
on me? You on the customers using it on in
For
their
the
butt?
accuracy, for the
No one
accuracy,
ever
sir.
uses thermometer in their butt.
Are you insane? They
Wait, what?
do. I mean, not normal people, but yes, you can take temperature by putting it in your butt. That's how you take temperatures of animals.
Yeah,
Well,
animals. I know
anyways,
about that.
I think I will go next.
Yeah, I would definitely buy
Okay.
this.
Yes. So I have I have won that round regardless of all the shit that I just said. So you just need to get one yes out of the two. Like you, at least one person needs to invest.
Okay, okay.
Josh, this is for you. No, this is too both.
Yes.
No.
I have no. What is not
No,
fair?
this is So Joash's two objects are balloon and socks.
I can't wait for the
For
next
sure.
contestant.
I can.
Are you
I
giving filler
am.
dialogue?
Yeah.
Manish, we can just cut this out, right? You idiot.
Yeah,
It's
I know,
like
I know.
when
It's
you're in
just
a video game
like
and you're supposed to answer a question, but you just don't do anything, and there is like, come
yeah,
on, you do answer quick,
yeah, yeah.
like the NPC.
The NPC.
So, I'm sure you watched the movie Up.
Yes.
If you haven't, the movie is about a man who, but like ties multiple hundreds or even thousands of balloons to the top of his house, and which causes it to fly. Based on that idea, we have come up with a new product, a new mode of transportation. In fact, where you sort of connect balloons to yourself and you fly. And so this isn't meant for like long term, long distance travel, obviously, because the balloons usually tend to run out of air. But if you want to travel like over a short distance, but there's a lot of traffic in your area, or there are like the roads are a little crazy, or you don't like doing it, we have come up with a new mode of transportation, which is balloons. And so now you might be wondering, how do these balloons stick to you? Well, the answer to that is using these special magnetized socks.
You can't just rip my shit off.
Why is everything
Not magnetized, but it's like hyper active. So hyper atomized socks. But how they work is like you sort of need to wear these socks. You rub your feet together, or you rub them on a rug or whatever you have.
You mean
These
static
socks are a little
electricity?
special. No, but these socks are a little special in which where they sort of like make a lot of static electricity, and it makes them a lot stronger than like just normal static electricity. Ideally, you want to do this in a room where there aren't a lot of things, a lot of small objects next to you. But once you staticize yourself, you just take multiple balloons and you stick them onto yourself, and you can go up to your terrace or whatever the highest point is that you can get up to, and you jump off it.
And you will not fall?
No, you sort of like float.
But will the wind affect the direction of where you want to go? Because it's
Um,
balloon.
Yes. So to sort of combat that, we also have like a sail which you need to like hold in your hand. It's like a kite, and that way you can sort of use the wind direction to your advantage and guide yourself through. You can navigate yourself in the sky.
What is the strength of these balloons? What is the strength of these balloons? Are they breakable?
These balloons are actually made of like a new and improved version of rubber, which makes them quite like resistant to most pokes. Although if you use like a needle and you really went at it, you could definitely burst them. But that's where the numbers come into play. Where if you burst a balloon, you don't just automatically fall to the ground, but you
Partially fall to the ground.
Yeah, you just like stop. You slowly lose a little bit of altitude. That's one way to put it.
Interesting.
And in case like something like by some act of God or something where like all your balloons just burst, or you lose most of your balloons really quickly, then we also have like a built-in parachute into the vest that you'd have to connect the balloons to. And so
it's a
if worst comes to
costume.
us,
It's no longer
yes,
the two
it's
products that you have.
no, it's pretty much
everything.
like it's a bodysuit. I probably should have clarified that from the start, but it's like a full body thing. And so when you rub the socks, it sort of transfers it to your whole suit, and now you have balloons all over you, and then you just jump off the terrace.
Okay.
And yeah, the weight capacity for these balloons is around 50 to 60 kgs. So most like the average American won't be able to use this, but we're trying to come up with like a
It's the
an American
unnecessary
version of the
burn.
product as well for foreign
we call it
the foreign market.
the hot air balloon, I assume, with the basket in which you put the people so they can float.
Yes. That's like we're trying to sort of reduce the size on that, but we haven't made a lot of progress on that side yet. Yeah, and the American version. So this is more of like
the version.
this
I
is
thought you meant
this is
reduce the size on the American. but okay.
No, this product is sort of more regulated towards like the Asian or the South Asian market.
Are you
And
trying to insinuate that the South Asian market is not fat?
no, that it is smaller. That's all.
Okay.
I mean, the
Does
bodysuits
it?
also are only, they only come up to like a size of 5'8" at this point.
I think
Um,
I think I have heard enough to make my decision. I would not like to fund this based on the fact that you did not fund my project.
That's very. That's very okay. Petty, I must say,
Yes.
Mister Spud.
that is fair, but
My
although very
one issue
petty,
with
I
this
must.
is
Yeah, yeah.
not an issue per se. I just have a query. Does it come in red color?
Yes, it in fact it also comes with
Okay.
in multiple different colors, and you can like on the website you
Mm.
can sort of pick which suit you want. So our
Okay.
default one comes in like a rainbow color.
Mm.
What if I want the whole thing to be in red?
Yeah, you can do that. I think. I don't know.
Yeah, you can get the whole thing in red, and we even have like certain accent colors on the red version. We try to avoid having the whole thing in red because with for like people who are like colorblind, you don't want them to
Okay.
miss out on
Mm.
like the entire suit, right?
They will have
Hmm.
no idea if someone's flying or not. They're like, what are you guys
Yeah.
looking at? There's nothing there.
Yeah, just like you wouldn't want to crash into another
That
user
sounds very interesting.
if they're colorblind.
And
So we sort of have safety
that sounds very
colors
interesting. And
to
I
make
have a
sure
lot
you're
of money,
visible.
so I'll definitely fund this.
I feel like Manish has done the smart thing where you know what? Just won't invest in his no matter what. He's like, I will invest in both, which means they will invest in mine.
All right. So I guess now it's my time to pitch. Oh my god.
Okay, so Manish's two objects are deodorant and a belt.
Have you ever thought that your deodorant doesn't smell like a belt?
You made the worst thing you could have made from those two things.
You're covered in all leather clothing. Your belt, your boots, your hat, and your suit. So now the issue is your belt is not smelling enough leathery. So what do? You use your deodorant on your belt, and your belt now smell like belt.
This is the most thing I've ever heard.
Yes.
Imagine.
So you're telling me it's a
Yes.
belt flavored
Yes.
deodorant,
What if?
leather flavored.
Yeah. So what happens is sometimes when your son comes home with a bad result, and you want to hit him, but beating is sort of a crime. Let's say beating your kids.
Sort of a
So what?
crime.
So what you do is you
Okay.
spray the deodorant
Yeah,
on
yeah.
your kid and make him smell like a belt. Now your family has a strong foundation just because of the presence of deodorant that smells like a belt. Yes, it does come in red color.
I would before Joash goes, I would like to not associate myself with this product at all based on its usage. So I am out. But Joash, please go ahead.
I think that's very
Yeah,
interesting.
very cool feature.
But I
Hmm.
don't like the smell of leather, and for
So
that reason,
Manish
I am out.
lost. And on that note,
Wait, I got only one vote. Sorry, I got only one decision. What about you? What
I
are you going
immediately
to?
disassociated myself with this
Sorry, I can't.
product.
Sorry, I can't hear you, man. Are you? Do you want to?
I do not.
Sorry, man. I just couldn't hear you again. Can you repeat that?
And on that note, we
Also,
come to
what?
the
What
end
if? So
of the first
let me do this thing.
episode.
Okay, okay. Hold on. let me let me add one small bit.
Enough. Okay.
I think what since you both are not investing in this one, I would like you guys to use this deodorant, and maybe you will change your mind after that.
No, I will not. I will not use nor change my mind.
Please, sir.
Manish, you do realize that there was like another product right there, right? You could have put like a belt where you can attach
Yeah,
multiple
I know.
deodorants.
I cannot believe he's
Yeah,
like
but I just chose the most weird
Oh,
one.
okay, yeah, makes sense.
creativity. Yeah, you. This is what you learn from art school, guys.
Yes,
Yes.
definitely. Yeah.
But okay, on that note, we come to the end of episode 1 of the Wrong Layer podcast. Hopefully, this will be the last first episode. We don't have to re-record
Third time's
this.
the charm.
But yeah, do check the Wrong Layer podcast on Instagram, where we will be asking your opinions and questions. And do let us know if you come up with interesting products for fish tank. We will review them in the next episode. And what are your thoughts about education, art education in India? Um, Check us out, Manish Demon, Joash Britto Art, and the Artist Spud on Instagram. All the links will be down below. And tell us why our podcast is bad and what we can do so that it's not bad the next time. Uh,
Yes.
you boys have anything else to add?
I love everyone.
Okay, coming on a little strong. See you guys. See you in the next one. Bye
See you
bye.
guys. Bye bye.
Bye.
It's the wrong fucking layer.